YB stays on your neck.
Stays on my neck.
Lennox, rate the heavyweights at the top of the division now. Who's 1, 2, 3?
You know, you have to put Tyson Fury and Deontay at the top right now. You know, I was disappointed in Anthony Joshua because he wasn't really getting the fights. When Tyson Fury and Deontay fought, I'm like, these guys got the best sparring. They're sparring each other. But Anthony Joshua wasn't doing anything. He was basically on the shelf. And his manager basically left him on the shelf and said, oh, no, we don't want that fight. We want an easy fight. And, you know, a guy like that, he's like a racehorse. He needs to be tested. He needs to get out there and work against the best talent out there so he can get better, not to stay on the shelf. And the way how they were looking at it, and I'm not in their camp, obviously they're out trying to get the money, grab the money there, grab the money over there, and not really have the hard fights before grabbing the money.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. Wow, 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 wow. I've been singing a lot of praise to Lennox THE HATER Lewis for a while because he's been saying some stuff which has been on point about Anthony Joshua. He's been saying about how AJ needs to change trainer, how AJ needs to become more surrounded by particular people, key people, headhunted dons. Yeah? That's what needs to happen. He needs to diversify the portfolio of his information he has. Currently, or for in fact, his whole career damn near, he's had one information source. And that information source isn't even known as a great all-time trainer. If anything, is known as a flawed trainer. Historically speaking, he's had one known fighter. And that one known fighter in Carl Froch was severely technically flawed. Just little things. Like Carl Froch's defense was his chin. That there's not a good sign. Especially not when you're dealing with heavyweights. Carl Froch got away with it because he was a 168 pounder when the division sucked and there was no punches there. Anyway, my point is, I've been, for those my loyal dons out there who have followed the YB's channel, you know I've been agreeing with Lennox THE HATER Lewis. However, my last video I did on Lennox THE HATER Lewis was talking about when Lennox Lewis in the last week or two responded to the criticism he's been getting about being an AJ hater anyway. We responded to that, and fundamentally speaking, bottom line, Lennox Lewis is an AJ hater. He can't stand it. He can't stand the fact that before the AJ loss, he couldn't stand the fact that AJ had a better resume and had better prospects and had AJ looked like a better talent. He looked, historically speaking, in terms of the resume, AJ had a better resume than Lennox Lewis. He was eclipsing. AJ was completely, absolutely eclipsing what Lennox Lewis did in his career. And that's the problem. All these fighters, look, most of these fighters, even Mike Tyson, they fight 30 bums before they have a decent fight. AJ's out here, world championship fight at 16 fights. Didn't even have a long amateur career either. A relatively short amateur career. Yeah. Then goes on and comes into the pros on some Lomachenko-ish, fighting top dudes after 16 fights. And then from there, from his world championship platform, you don't see him nick the belts and then run away fighting the bare minimum, or even below the bare minimum, trying to get the easiest fights going. He's actually trying to look for all the smoke. This last 6 months, every single person in the top to the bottom got asked for smoke. Wilder no, Fury no, Dillian Whyte no. No one wanted it. And he ended up with Andy Ruiz. And that's what frustrates me, really. We've just heard from Lennox THE HATER Lewis. And what irritates me, I've said this before, but I've got a real passion for truth. I've got a real passion. My moral compass is bang on centre. And it really bugs me. It really inflames me. It gets me really riled up when I hear people talking complete rubbish. Like, this dude's literally talking opposites. His hate for AJ has got him talking opposites. Let's break down what he said. He starts off by saying, oh, I'm disappointed with AJ for not fighting the best. Whilst Fury and Wilder were taking risk and fighting each other, AJ wasn't doing anything. He didn't want to fight anyone. He was just sitting on the bench. Yeah, he didn't want to do anything. He was just being protected by Eddie Hearn. They wanted the easy fights. He needed to take hard fights to get better. Eddie Hearn and AJ just wanted to grab the money and not have hard fights. What's going on here? You joking? Seriously? The fact that AJ's making, this is the problem you see as well. A lot of people don't actually understand what's going on. The fact AJ's making big money is because he's a brand and he generates cash. Simple as that. Whatever reason it is for, I don't know. The bottom line is he brings cash in. It's got nothing to do with who he does or who he doesn't fight. It's got nothing to do with money. And besides, AJ, and this is what frustrates me, AJ has fundamentally been killing it in terms of the people he's been fighting. Yeah? The opposite can be said for Fury and Wilder. Okay, Wilder and Fury fought each other. But he says that as if AJ hasn't been hunting them dudes down, trying to get the fight with them. Is it not? Is that what I'm trying to say? It doesn't make no sense to me. And besides, okay, let's say you're right. At the point when Wilder and Fury fought on December 1st, or whenever it was, 2018, let's say AJ didn't want the fight. So okay, they fought. You sit here saying AJ didn't want no problems. Well, why is it he spent the whole of December, January, February trying to get Wilder or Fury in the ring for April? Why is that the case? Oh yeah, AJ's happy being protected. AJ's happy being sitting on the bench, sitting on the shelf, counting money. It's what frustrates me. Why has there never been a video or a tweet from Lennox the Hater Lewis talking about how Fury and Wilder haven't helped lubricate the process and haven't sent any offers out? What have they done to show they want the fight? It's what makes me angry, because AJ's been the one sending contracts out, looking to fight. Even before he lost to Ruiz, he was saying, Wilder, come on man, let's sit down and talk. Fury, let's sit down and talk. These are the information points we have. But yet, Lennox the Hater Lewis, he sees all the information out there. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's thick, which is probably a highly likely possibility. Maybe he's one of them dudes who just hears LDBC rumours and rides with it. That's most likely the case. Because not everyone can be like us. Not everyone can be ultra high IQ. Not everyone can be ultra high analytical. They can't. It's not the way it goes. There needs to be thick people. That's how it works. In every society, in every place, there's going to be a distribution of IQs, and it so happens that the LDBC and Lennox the Hater Lewis are at the very bottom of the IQ pool, because this stuff here is shocking. He's literally describing, sitting there saying, oh yeah, AJ's happy, he's collecting money. What's Wilder been doing? That's what I'm trying to say about the money thing. People think just because AJ's making a lot of money, he's got that because he's been fighting easy fights. No, he got that from fighting hard fights. And that's why Lennox Lewis can't sit there and say, oh, Wilder's been fighting easy fights just to get the money, because Wilder don't make no money. But don't get confused, Lennox Hater Lewis. The reason AJ's making money has nothing to do with knocking over easy fights. Nothing at all. And in reality, where your fingers should be pointing at, you should be pointing at Wilder, who's been champion twice as long as AJ. You should be pointing to him and saying, you know what, Wilder? Why is it in 42 fights you've fought one good fight? It makes me laugh, and that's what frustrates me in a way when you hear these guys. They all jump on the Fury versus Wilder bandwagon, as if that validates the whole of someone's career. Oh yeah, well, Fury and Wilder have fought. That shows they've taken risks. You've had one fight in 42 fights. Take that one fight out. Where is all this great risk taking? You can't sit there and say, oh yeah, AJ's been happy sitting on the bench. He's been happy sitting on the shelf counting money. Wilder and Fury have been getting it in. What do you mean they've been getting it in? They've had one fight between each other. Take that out of the equation. Where's all this risk taking been? You can't say that, oh, one guy's been hiding his whole career, but then validate Wilder and Fury. Fury's been off for 3 years. What have you got to say about that, Lennox the Hater Lewis? Yeah? How come you ain't coming out here saying, well, you know what, guys? AJ's been fighting for the last 3 years. Well, Fury's been doing whatever he's been doing. And him not being funny, Fury's been off, but Wilder might as well have been off as well. What's Wilder done from 2015 to 2018? He fought a 65-year-old man who Mike Tyson... Listen, Mike Tyson took Luis Ortiz's best days out in sparring. No joke. Luis Ortiz's best days were spent in the Catskill gym from 1980 to 1990. They were the best. They were bottom line. Mike Tyson inside gamed the life out of Luis Ortiz, and now 30 years later, Wilder wants to drag up this dude, 65-year-old man, and try and claim it as a big win. And like I said, I haven't even got a problem doing that. You know what? If you want to give him that, fine, give him it. Wilder's had 6 fights. from 2015 to 2018. You can give him one good fight. Okay, Ortiz have that. What's he been doing the other 5? He's been champion as well for that whole period. He should have back-to-back-to-back top cats. Or at least have a paper trail of evidence. Oh, well, look, YB. He did call out Vladimir. He did call out Vitaly. He did try and make the fight with Fury. He ain't sent no offers. In fact, to the contrary, Wilder's manager said, "No, we don't want no parts of Vladimir. We're too young. Oh, we're too young in the game." People trying to sit here, googly eyes, and all these LDBC retards trying to tell me about, oh yeah, Wilder wanted to fight Vladimir. What are you talking about? Where's the paper trail for that? This is the first I've ever heard of it. What we do know is, when Wilder won the World Championship in 2015, Shelley Winkle came out immediately and said, "Listen, we don't want no problems with Vladimir Klitschko." And they were both managed by the same guy. So if anyone could have made that fight happen, it would have been him. But he told you. And them words come from Wilder. I promise you that. The same way, lo and behold, when AJ was looking to fight Wilder, what do we know? Oh, man, we're going in our own direction. Oh, yeah, we got the Tyson Fury fight and the Luis Ortiz fight signed, man. Sorry, man. We busy for the next 4 years, man. That's what he was doing. Yeah. Remember Blue Balls? Blue Balls had him on an interview and says to him, "Will you accept 50-50? Oh, man, we don't even know, man. We got our own plans, man." Where was Lennox the Hater Lewis? Where was your opinion on that? And all this time, Lennox Lewis has been around all that time. He's more of an insider than us. He knows this. So how can you sit around there and hear Wilder say these things like, "Oh, I won't even fight AJ for 50-50 now. For 50-50 now." And yours coming on here, and you can see the date, I've highlighted it. This was June 24th, 2019, so well after AJ's loss. And well in the future. You've heard all these things from Wilder, and your conclusion and your evaluation of this information is, oh yeah, AJ hasn't been taking risks like Wilder and Fury have. What's Fury been doing? What risk has Fury taken? Okay, he went to... people rant and rave about the Klitschko performance. That was after like 24, 25 fights. Fury didn't do something that was like quite edgy. Does that make sense? People say, oh, he went to Germany in his backyard. Yeah, Fury did what most contenders do. They go to the champion's backyard. That's pretty standard stuff, you know. Fury had a normal average career. 24, that's normal. Normally, 20 to 25 fights in, people fight for a world championship. If you're undefeated and if you've got a bit of something about you. That's pretty standard. There's nothing world-breaking about that. And having to go to someone's backyard, what did you expect? Did you expect Klitschko to come to the UK? Are you joking? I just don't get that. Why is everyone hyping at this whole Germany business? Klitschko was never going to come to the UK. Unless he wanted to. Does that make sense? He was the champion. Why wouldn't Fury have gone there? Why is he getting brownie points for doing something every other contender has to do? Every contender has to go to the champion's backyard. That's how it works. When you're a contender. I don't understand the brownie points for that. It's not even like he went to Germany and put on a complete domination. He landed about 30 punches more the whole fight. And they weren't like, oh wow, come on YB. They was big. He landed 15 massive right hands and 10 big left hooks and a big right. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. It was literally jabs. And he probably got, not being funny, the judges actually scored some feints as well in there. In fact, Fury's jab is a bit of a feint. His whole jab's a feint jab. It's a flick of the back. He's a backhand. No power, no damage on it at all. Flicking. But anyway, it just frustrates me because this guy, Lennox Lewis, even when AJ loses, he still feels threatened because he knows. Listen, Lennox the Hater Lewis knows that AJ can still easily eclipse Lennox Lewis. This is what it's all about. Lennox Lewis doesn't like AJ because he sees someone, and not even sees. AJ's resume will eclipse Lennox Lewis's. If AJ comes back and ices Ruiz and whoops Ruiz, AJ's still going to be well ahead of Lennox Lewis because Lennox Lewis lost twice. So if AJ never loses again, he's beating Lennox Lewis. Because he'll only have one loss, and Lennox has two, and his resume is much better. Lennox Lewis didn't have his first big fight until about 21 fights, I think it was. 20 fights, which is 4 or 5 more than AJ. And he had a much more extensive amateur background. And that's where the hate comes from, because I wouldn't mind if people come at me and say facts. I've got no problem. If Wilder and Fury were genuinely taking risks, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But come on, man. There's a lot of casuals out there, a lot of people who don't have the time or don't have the interest to look into things, and they hear Lennox Lewis sitting there saying, and I hear loads of casuals say it all the time, oh yeah, Joshua, he's just a money man, Joshua. Yeah, he's just a money man, Joshua. Yeah, they're only interested in money. Barry Hearn, Eddie Hearn, they're just greedy. They don't want to risk AJ at all. What are you talking about? We headhunted Luis Ortiz, the top guy, after Jarrell Pig Babe Miller pulled out. We headhunted all the best people. Andy Ruiz got brought in. You won't see Tyson Fury fighting Andy Ruiz on a whim. You won't see Deontay Wilder fighting Andy Ruiz on a whim, or that kind of caliber of person. Jarrell Miller hunted. AJ hunted him down because Dylan White, Wilder, and Fury didn't want it. That's all we should be talking about now. Anything Lennox Lewis has to say should be, AJ's lost, but to be fair to him, he did try and fight. He did try and make the big fights. This April gone. That should be it, really, if I'm honest. There should be... How can you, after all that's happened, how can your conclusion and your words be, well, it just goes to show I'm disappointed in AJ because Wilder and Fury were the ones looking to get stuck in. What the fuck? And look what's happened after as well, okay? Let's say you're right. Wilder and Fury are such risk takers. They love getting stuck in, all because of one fight. Fine. What have they done since that one fight? Have they had another good... It's been another... How many months now? It's been 8 months after. 8 months after. 8 months after their first fight. What have they done since? Has Wilder gone on to have a massive... Has Wilder gone on to build momentum like AJ does? AJ fought Charles Martin in 16 fights, and every fight after that built up. More risk, top contender, top person to step in. Let's not forget, people talk about the Takam win. That was meant to be Pulev. Pulev bottled it. So Pulev would have been another top 5, top 10 dude taken out if he'd dared got in there. Yeah? AJ is systematically breaking down the division, one by one. Meanwhile, what did Wilder do? Oh, let's bring Brazil in. Wow. Goes backwards 10 steps. Has one half-sharp fight, which he don't even win, versus Fury, by the way. Gets a draw. And then, 10 steps back fighting Brazil. AJ's leftovers. And the guy had done nothing. And then, meanwhile, all this time, it's funny, you hear Lennox, it's another thing actually, I've just remembered. You hear Lennox Lewis sitting there saying, oh yeah, Wilder and Fury, they're good, they're getting experience fighting each other, getting the best experience fighting the best. What's Lennox the Hater Lewis got to say about this Dylan White situation? Since Wilder wants to fight all the best so much, why didn't Wilder demand Dylan White step in, not Brazil? Bearing in mind, Dylan White has a better resume and is more risky and is more entertaining and the fans want to see it and bigger money. Why isn't Lennox Hater Lewis got nothing to say on that? Very interesting indeed. Since Wilder's so risky and LDBC can say, well, he was mandated. Yeah, fine. I haven't got a problem. If the fight was mandated with Brazil, fine, but why didn't Wilder come out and denounce the mandatory? If Wilder wanted the problems with White, he could have come out and said, listen guys, the WBC have ordered Brazil, but I'm trying to convince the WBC, or I'm putting in an official letter demanding that Dylan White, after 600 days, demanding that Dylan White's earned this position more than Brazil. So as a champion, I'm going to do as much as I can to give the fans what they want because I want to test myself. Did Wilder do any of that? No, instead we heard, yeah, man, well, Dylan White, he can wait another 400 days, man. I don't deal with peasants, man. Yeah, man, cock-a-doodle-oo, man. All this business. You don't deal with peasants, but you're fighting Brazil. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's not even about what actually happens. It's about intent. Who has the intent to fight the best? That's what you have to go on. You can't go on what actually happens. Because AJ can't force any of these bums to get in the ring. And look, and the funny thing is, in fact, you can go on what happens. Look what you have to. What I'm trying to say is, you have to consider both what happens and the intents. As an example, Wilder, he has one good fight with Fury, and there's been no intent to fight good people ever since. Oh, Ortiz, wow, who cares about that? No one. No one cares about Ortiz. We've seen that show, and Ortiz has done nothing. He's out of form. He's 65 years old, and he's done. He was never anything. In fact, people say he's done. He was never any good. What did he win? Who did he beat? Seriously. What has he shown to anyone? Dave Allen would fold Ortiz now. No joke, he would do. He would fold Ortiz. Ortiz couldn't hurt him when he wasn't even training on a week's notice. Never mind now. Honestly, Dave Allen will murk him. But my point is, Where has the intent from Wilder or Fury been to fight the best? Okay, they got in there, they had one fight between each other. Having one fight, that doesn't show you intent is when you back to back looking for the best. Whether you get it or not, it's irrelevant. AJ, that's who AJ is. He has the intentions and the actions. He sends offers. He makes it publicly clear. He tries to get the best in the ring every time. Offers massive money. You don't hear what Wilder. You ain't heard out of Wilder's mouth. I want to fight AJ now. You haven't heard out of Wilder's mouth. We're sending offers to AJ or Dylan White. Or there's no intention there, and there's no action there either. He doesn't even want these guys, and he doesn't even fight them. It's mental. Whereas AJ calls out the ones, shows his intentions, and he fights the best time and time again. This Lennox Lewis guy is a certified hater, and he's shocking. I've lost all my respect for him now. I thought the fact that AJ had lost might have brought him down to earth a bit more and made him feel a bit less insecure about himself, but clearly not. He's still got massive insecurities because he knows if AJ comes back with a bang, his career, his whole build up as a champion is ready to be wiped out, good and proper.